hatred of immigrants, contempt for the truth, greed, and the abuse of power. We are fighting those same evils today. And we need to be clear, shamelessness is not and will never be a superpower. It is the mark of a villain. Kidnapping children is not what great nations do.
The funniest part about Trump's presidency is that you don't need to exaggerate anything to make it hilarious. The man already lives like a cartoon character scribbled by a board animator on their lunch break. Jim Carrey doesn't need to lampoon him. Trump comes pre-packaged as a walking parody of leadership, stumbling through history with the grace of a man who thinks Air Force One is just a bigger golf cart. It's political theater without the rehearsal costume or script.
Out when the country was together and had a wonderful leader, and he is tearing us limb from limb, destroying every institution.
Let's talk about this Donald Trump, even though we don't want to. Let's bring in on the panel for this.
He's a car salesman. He's a used car salesman.
Absolutely.
And he's, you know, he didn't make America great again, but he did turn back the odometer. So who knows what the hell is wrong with us?
Carrey zeroes in on the absurdity of Trump's facial performances. Every smirk,
squint, and over-practiced pout looks like it was stolen from a children's puppet show that got canceled after one episode. Trump's expressions never match the gravity of the moment. They match the tone of a man who just got caught cutting the buffet line. He's the only world leader who can walk into a summit with global superpowers and look like he's still trying to sell steaks at a strip mall.
And if anything, we've got to get back to a place where we realize that a vote is not who you are, you know, and because you voted Republican, you're not stupid, you're not different, you're not worthless. You know, I could break bread with anybody who voted for Trump. We could find some common ground to love each other through, you know? So, just stop doing stupid shit!
If you're enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon. His speeches are even more cartoonish. Instead of delivering policy, he throws out random statements like a magician pulling rabbits out of hats. Except the rabbits are half-baked claims that collapse the second anyone bothers to fact-check them. Carrey turns it into slapstick. Imagine a president juggling flaming torches of misinformation while shouting that everything is under control. Even as the curtains behind him burn down, Trump doesn't deliver reassurance. He delivers improv night at the world's most dangerous comedy.
As I watched this week, what I kept thinking was, it all comes down to this case of narcissistic personality disorder. We've all talked about it since you've been on the public scene. But we see it in real time. Somebody really unraveling, spiraling toward madness.
So I'm an asshole? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. We're talking
you're not talking about.
The irony is that Trump insists he's the smartest man in the room while speaking like someone who forgot to study for the test. He makes the most basic facts sound like riddles, as if mispronouncing a country's name makes him an expert on foreign policy. Carrey ridicules it with the energy of Ace Ventura diagnosing a sick parrot. It's loud, bizarre, and completely disconnected from reality. Trump doesn't speak to inform. He speaks to convince himself he's not losing control.
Trump.
This whole thing has brought back my 8-year-old self. It's been a gift from God. It's like literally like brought me back to 8 years old, where I used to sit in my room. Trump is toast.
Yeah, man. And so you just kind of digest the news of the day.
It's an affirmation.
Robert
Mueller putting the squeeze on the president. Just to relieve.
And control is exactly what he never had. Every decision feels like it was made by a man who asked a magic 8-ball for advice. Carrey skewers Trump's impulsiveness by imagining a president in a meeting shaking toys instead of reading reports. One day it's tariffs, the next it's tweets, and the day after that it's another impulsive tantrum that rattles markets around the globe. Leadership requires vision. Trump has only reflexes, and usually the wrong ones.
There was a tape of him talking to Bob Woodward, right? We heard that this week. At the end of it, he gets a little frustrated and he says, well, accurate is that nobody's ever done a better job than I'm doing as president. He says, how can you...
Job of what? Job of what? Demolition Man?
Right.
There's nothing left! That lot is...
When it comes to loyalty, Trump turns the White House into a reality show elimination round. Staffers spend their days graveling, not governing, because survival depends on whether they clapped hard enough at his latest ramble. Carey compares it to a circus where the ringmaster fires the clowns mid-performance, only to replace them with the elephants. By the end of each season, the cast changes so fast it looks like the credits of a bad sketch comedy show scrolling in real time. His obsession with appearances makes the satire even sharper. Trump talks about optics as if they're more important than outcomes. To him, policy isn't measured in results, but in applause breaks. Carey exaggerates this by mimicking Trump posing for cameras while the chaos of governance explodes behind him. Thiemann can't fix anything, but he can tilt his chin at a photo op like he's auditioning for the role of Carey lampoons this by miming Trump pulling levers on a slot machine every time he meets a foreign leader. The jackpot is always the same. Awkward stares, forced smiles, and a worldwide reminder that
Who was the teacher you draw pictures of? Do you remember his or her name?
Mrs. Gervais. And she was a super, ultra hip teacher.
Oh.
Literally, like grade 6, she was, first of all, I was at the back of the classroom drawing pictures of her getting like attacked and missiled and axes in her head and things like that. Yeah. It's like, I had to learn how to be correct, yeah, she took them all.
Oh, she confiscated them.
Kind of scolded me, but not really. And then once I got famous, she sent them all back to me.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice thing to do.
She saved them because she knew what was going to happen in the world, Jimmy. She knew.
She knew?
She knew.
The economy becomes its own slapstick routine under Trump. He brags about numbers without understanding them, boasts about jobs while ignoring the fact that many Americans are still struggling, and takes credit for anything positive while blaming others for the disasters he helped create. Carey plays this as a vaudeville act where Trump counts monopoly money, while the real cash register is being looted in the background. It's theater of the absurd disguised as economic policy. And when it comes to scandals, Trump doesn't just stumble into them. He manufactures them like they're a line of products. Every week delivers a fresh outrage that feels scripted for late-night comedy. Carey mocks this by acting out Trump as a carnival barker, shouting, "Step right up, folks. New scandal today, bigger than yesterday, guaranteed to make your jaw drop." The absurdity is relentless. A production line of chaos where the only constant is Trump's refusal to accept responsibility. The pandemic revealed the performance more than anything else. Trump treated briefings like open mic nights with the script written in disappearing ink. Trump's obsession with image turns climate change into another comedic disaster. Rather than acknowledge the severity of the crisis, he waves it off like it's bad PR.
There, right? That even if it's not, even if he's not worth $10 billion, he must be worth like $1 billion as opposed to, a few million, or as opposed to being in debt a few million, right?
He reported 100 and he was worth 5.
Right.
So that's the ratio of truth to bullshit with Trump. Basically, anything he says is 20 to 1. Okay? It's 20.
Carey skewers this by mimicking Trump, throwing a green carpet over a flood and declaring the problem solved. For him, optics matter more than oceans and perception trumps preparation. The environment isn't a priority, it's just another backdrop for a photo op. The rallies become their own grotesque parody. Trump rants to crowds as if volume equals truth, recycling the same leans like a comedian bombing, Butte refusing to leave the stage. Carey imagines him as a lounge singer who forgot the lyrics but keeps belting noise because the band won't stop playing. These aren't political events. They're ego fests dressed up as patriotism, designed not to inspire citizens, but to feed a man addicted to applause. Even his relationship with the media is a never-ending farce. Trump rails against reporters while simultaneously obsessing over every headline. He consumes coverage like a guilty pleasure he can't quit, raging about the very attention he craves. Carey twists this into physical comedy, imagining Trump as a man flipping through newspapers angrily while secretly tucking them under his pillow at night. The contradiction is so obvious, it doesn't need exaggeration. It's already slapstick. It's a performance that leaves allies baffled and adversaries entertained. The myth of Trump as a strong man collapses under Carr's parody. Strength in Trump's world means shouting louder, pouting harder, and posing longer. He confuses bluster for bravery and intimidation for leadership.
This administration is a is a rabid dog, and it's turning us upside down. And all, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's as obvious as the nose on your face, you know. But people have made these elections and politics in general who they are, and it's not who you are. You can make a bad decision about a candidate. It's not who you are. It doesn't mean you're dumb.
It doesn't. Kerry acts this out as exaggerated chest thumping, puffing himself up like a cartoon rooster in a barnyard brawl he started but can't finish. The reality is that true strength requires substance, and Trump is all feathers with no fight. Then there's the endless victimhood. Trump whines about unfair treatment while holding more power than anyone else in the country. He positions himself as the underdog in a system designed to elevate him. Kerry spins this into a tragic comic act where the most powerful man alive, so like a sitcom character who didn't get invited to prom. It's theater of self-pity, a man addicted to grievance in a role that demands grit. Even Trump's idea of history is ripe for ridicule. He mangles facts, confuses timelines, and talks about past presidents as if he skimmed their biographies in an airport bookstore. Kerry turns this into a skit where Trump stands in front of Mount Rushmore trying to guess who the presidents are, then congratulating himself for getting 2 out of 4. Their routine is so absurd, it plays like parody, even in real life. Trump's ego is not just a personality quirk. It is the engine that drives every chaotic turn of his presidency. Decisions are made not with the country in mind, but with the constant question of how they will play on television or whether they will spark another round of applause from his base.
Kathy Griffin just got herself in a hell of a lot of trouble. As a comic, as a writer, as a comedian, as a performer, what do you think of that, and should people forgive her?
I'd see that everybody's a hypocrite because everybody's imagined themselves standing there with his head. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe at least half the country. You know, we're in a tough spot. It's a very, very divided world, and those on I guess you'd call it the left side. I just call it the sensible side. Is, you know, we're sitting there watching this nonsense happen, and people like Sean Spicer come out and talk about it like we're kindergartners, you know, and covering for this president is like putting...
Policies are not drafted to solve real problems, but to provide another opportunity for his name to dominate headlines. Jim Carrey paints the image of a man who believes that history is just a backdrop to his own self-promotion, as if centuries of struggle and progress are merely the opening credits to his personal reality show. The presidency becomes less about leadership and more about stagecraft. Trump positions himself not as a steward of the nation, but as the star of a never-ending production where the audience's role is simply to validate his existence. Kerry skewers this delusion with the idea of Trump treating cabinet meetings like casting calls, searching for supporting actors who won't outshine him no matter how badly they stumble through their lines. The administration doesn't operate like a government. It functions like an improv troupe where the only rule is that every scene ends with applause for the lead stands at the podium waiting for a laugh track to play. Every answer is delivered as though the goal is not to clarify but to impress, not to explain but to inflate. The American people show up expecting guidance and leave with the feeling they just attended a one-man variety show with no...
I can break bread with anybody in this country. I love people in this country. I love the heartland of this country. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, it's become obvious that the choice was a bad one. We just need to change it. And if you can't vote for a Democrat, at least let all this flood of information that's so negative and so obvious.
The irony is that in chasing validation, Trump ensures that he becomes impossible to take seriously. Leaders who build legacies through service are remembered for their achievements, but Trump is remembered for his obsession with recognition itself. Kerry underlines the farce by imagining Trump unveiling monuments not to national victories, but to his own selfies. The presidency is reduced to a parody of self-celebration, where the ultimate accomplishment is the applause echoing in his own ears. And yet in all the slapstick there is a tragic undertone. What lingers is not the image of a president, but of a caricature stumbling through history in oversized shoes making noise, but leaving little of value behind. Trump crafted the presidency into a circus, and Kerry rips away the curtain to reveal the ringmaster as nothing more than the clown.